my story, my personality is that one of Job. And then you woke up in the morning, just like what happened to Job, and he couldn't just find anything again. All the cars you think you have gone, the business is gone. I was from my house blindfolded, and then here I am inside the 4D, being disciplined, being dedicated, being determined, and being deliberate.
So, welcome to Re-Expression Live with FCT Wombo. This is a place where you discover your true identity in Christ, understand your realities, know how to manifest your full potentials, and impact your generation. Today, I'm excited to have a very special guest to introduce to you. He will share his story of how God lifted him after he's lost everything and began all over from the scratch. It's a story that will inspire you, a story that will motivate you, a story that will help you recover your lost dreams and visions. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest today is a man whose name is synonymous to vision, resilience, and excellence in the real estate industry. He is the chairman of Macarius Paragon Group and the Chief Executive Officer of Macarius Paragon Homes, a company redefining premium real estate through innovation, integrity, and excellence. Under his exceptional leadership, Macarius Paragon Home is currently delivering several multi-million naira developments, including its flagship luxury estate in Katampel, designed for elite living, alongside other landmark projects in Lifecamp, Mambushi, and other strategic locations in the city of Abuja. But beyond the impressive project and remarkable achievement is a man of character, a devoted father, an inspiring mentor, and a visionary leader committed to building people as passionately as he builds properties. Perhaps the most compelling part of his story is not the height he has attained, but the valleys he courageously overcame. Having once stood among the leading figures in the real estate industries, he experienced the devastating loss of everything he had built. Yet through unwavering faith, resilience, determination, and unbreakable spirit, he rose from the ashes to rebuild an even stronger and more impactful empire. His life is a powerful testimony that setbacks are not the end of the story. They are often the foundation for an even greater comeback. He is not just a builder of homes, he is a builder of hope, resilience, and lasting legacy. Today, we have the privilege of hearing from the exceptional leader as he shares the wisdom, lessons, and experiences behind his extraordinary journey. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise to your feet and join me in giving a thunderous Real Expression welcome to our special guest today on Real Expression Live with FCT Wombo. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make welcome Mr. OK Daminola. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
It's quite an honor and privilege to have you on set today, inspiring the generation and our young people all over the world.
I'm so glad, and I'm so honored to be here today for such a time as this.
What an honor! What an inspiring story!
Amazing.
What an inspiring story!
Amazing.
You know, the last time I was with you in the office and you were sharing with me some of the amazing experiences that God has taken you through, it was such a moment of transformation, such a moment of inspiration. I would to God that the whole world listen to your story and be inspired. On today's show, Inspiring Generation Next, I'm so excited to have you to talk to the young people and people all over the world whose life have seemed to be devastated. They seem to have lost everything. Their dreams seem to have been dead and gone. But here you are to tell your story. Tell us, who is Damilola? Okay.
Okay, Damilola Okay is if I tell people that my story, my personality is that one of Job. Yeah, and I think there are four things that I think I've lived my life with, right from the cradle with all that happened, which I call it, the 4D. Being disciplined, being dedicated, being determined, and being deliberate. So Damilola is just I think I would say is a man after God's heart. With what has happened to me is not a joke, but I want to thank God because that I could go through those processes, and today is a living testimony. So I actually call my story the big story, because so Damilola is a man that God has helped.
Wow.
That God has helped, because
That's amazing.
I can't go through this,
That's
this
amazing.
journey by myself.
Can you take us back to that season where everything changed? What happened exactly?
Okay, I remember I came to Abuja like every young man would do, and I began a journey, business, got a partner, and then we rose up to a level of leadership, of wealth. Everything you will see. Over a decade ago, there is no big body you see in town that you will not see my products, my pictures.
Wow.
Yeah, we're everywhere.
Wow.
So, mention it. Estate everywhere. Securities everywhere. I remember, having houses everywhere. You can imagine Asokoro, Katampe everywhere. And then you have the securities. You have you're just living large. You fly a private jet everywhere around the world. I have a passport that I could travel to any country of my dreams. Yeah, over a decade. Talking about 12, 13 years ago. So, and then something happened. And then but I wouldn't call it, I think in business, today is a story. I've learned a lot, but money issue, partners, and betrayal. And you could imagine with all the things you think you have, and then you woke up in the morning, just like what happened to Job, and he couldn't just find anything again. I remember I woke up in that morning. Of course, I don't want to go the whole thing that happened, where I lost everything. But of course, I wouldn't want to say that it's just, be careless. And at that time, it was just too much on my 40th birthday.
Wow.
You woke up in the morning, all the cars you think you have gone, the business is gone. I remember, and it's just when you're in business, and trust is a gift, but we can't stop trusting people in business. But of course, we learn and we get better. And then the whole thing happened. I remember I was from my house blindfolded, and then here I am in cell.
You went to sell.
Oh yeah, I was in cell. My partner, had an arrangement with some of these guys. Even my lawyer, it was the darkest moment of my life. I was in police cell for 2 months. Everything has been arranged to put me in prison. For 2 months, I would cry and cry. And then I didn't have access to my phone. My family were wondering, where is Dami? But so much happened with the police set up everything. But I got back out of those issues. And I remember the very day, and it took me 4 years to 5 years, because the plan was for them to, because they took everything. They took everything I had just to take over the company. My story is just like what happened to Isaac. When Isaac dug the well, they took it. But what happened? When they dug the well, they took it. The way God tried. Right now, I will say to you, with everything they thought they took from me, or the estate, the lands, the houses everywhere, I'm talking to you today, everything is gone. They lost it. But of course, it took 6 years of waiting. I was just there. I had no houses anymore. You have boys everywhere, you have security, and then there is no way I want to go out. With avalanche of people following me, and then you wake up, you're not begging for money.
Anybody.
I couldn't find anybody. Wow. And then I'm now calling people for money. I was just hiding everywhere. But after a while.
Just hold on there before you tell us what happened and how the change was orchestrated.
Yeah.
Can you please tell us what was the most painful moment, the painful part of losing everything? The emotional impact, the financial loss, the loss of your reputation. What was the most painful part of this that happened?
There are a lot. Occasion. I would say the most painful part is when you think you have someone that is so dear to you, that is so close to you, that you committed everything about your job, your partner, to his hand, and then you didn't know the motive he had, and then
as a case of betrayal.
And I was labeled. The news was everywhere in town. Otuba this, Otuba that, Otuba stole money, Otuba did that. But I always tell them that time will tell. And today the narrative has changed, the story has changed, and the truth has been revealed. Those that took everything, where are they? They can't even be in this anymore. So betrayal, you had everything, then you could see that I'm not jumping from bike to bike. I cannot pay. And I couldn't even go back to my family because I was so ashamed that this guy had everything, and then you can't even go back again. I'm calling people to even to feed.
I can relate fully, completely with your experience.
Yeah.
Having been there when you were flying on private jets from nations to nation with security protocols, with orderlies, with men of timber and caliber, and then all of a sudden you lost everything.
That is it.
My God.
That is it. I sometimes those period in my life, I would just be where I was just staying, just hiding, because I had to hide, because they had everything. So the motive, the desire was just to change the narrative and put me to jail and send me to prison.
So, sir, how were you able to deal with all of this disappointment, the fear? How were you able to deal with the feeling of starting all over again?
God really helped me, because there was a time that got so bad that I wanted to also go, tit for tat. I mean, you're on TV.
You wanted to pay evil for evil.
Yeah, I don't want to tell you where I went. I'm going to tell you. I mean, so that the people in the world can really learn from that. You can't imagine yourself that you'll be on national TV, and then you're just having radio and you're watching TV. You are seeing your product, you are seeing your houses, your estates being taken over, just living large. This is what you built from the scratch, but you can't do anything. The pain, the betrayal, and I knew what it did. So I told myself, you know what? Enough is enough of this. That was the moment of my life that I backslid, because I couldn't own it anymore. I've cried. I've tried to reach out to people. The narrative, it was so bad that I had to journey to the dark world. Yeah, I journeyed to the dark world. There is nothing I didn't do to get back. Yeah, there is nothing I needed to get back. But you know what? That very day that I took everything that that was given. I don't want to just bore you with the story of how this and that. I would go to some places just for me to get back in the dark world. I would see men. I would see men that I know this guy. You understand? I was talking about I know the join us. This system. We're in that level. You're in that level. These guys were bringing maybe chicken, goat, but because of the desperation, I wanted to get back. I was bringing cow. I said, Baba, this is my story. And the man had pity on me. Of course, we understand. Devil won't give you what. I mean, there's a book I read by Miles Monroe. He said, devil sponsor iniquities.
Yes.
It was, in fact, all the years that I didn't live in the hotel, I didn't even know. I mean, I lived 5 years in the hotel. I didn't even know I paid the bill. But like I said, devil will empower and sponsor iniquities. You have there, you think you have it all, but it's not in the right way. It's not the way of the Lord. The devil is one that's empowering that.
Wow.
But there's a way that seems to man, the end of it is destruction.
So
I took everything.
Yes.
I took all the ogudu voodoo, the jazz, just to get back to these guys, because it was crazy. Imagine coming to town and you are seeing your lawyer driving your car. I bought that car from Coast brand new Essex. I saw him drive. I can't approach him. I can't even collect it back. It was that bad. I would cry and cry. But go back to town. I had all my strategies, call some of these boys to hit these guys, and then whatever it is, it was bad. And I had an encounter.